It started with a strange, uncomfortable video that hit social media like a slap in the face. Meghan Markle, wearing what many viewers claimed looked like a moon bump, was seen dancing in a hospital room with Prince Harry, not just dancing, twerking, laughing, weaving to lyrics about being a baby mama and demanding child support. It wasn't just unexpected. It was downright bizarre for someone who styled herself as a royal. The performance looked more like a parody than a birth announcement, but then came the question that no one in the mainstream media had dared to touch before: was she ever really pregnant? This isn't new. The speculation around Meghan's pregnancies, especially with Archie and Libet, has been circulating for years. The idea that she might have used a prosthetic bump or a surrogate altogether has always been dismissed by major outlets as just internet noise. But that video changed the game. It didn't just reignite the old rumors. It practically poured gasoline on them and lit a match, because now it wasn't just fringe forums whispering about it. It was voices from inside the media, even outspoken figures like Piers Morgan and Jeremy Kyle, openly questioning what they were seeing.
You are witnessing a broken heart that is allowed to bleed openly. That is what we are witnessing.
That's not what I'm witnessing.
That is what you are witnessing.
I'm witnessing an entitled, arrogant, bitter, twisted little man who's had his claws dug into by a manipulative LA lady, and the pair of them have got on a mission, a wrecking ball mission, to enrich themselves by abusing the very institution which bestowed the titles to them, which they used to make money.
The concern isn't just about whether Meghan wore a fake bump. It goes much deeper than that. In the UK, royal children must be born of the body to claim a place in the line of succession. So if hypothetically Meghan did use a surrogate and kept that hidden, it wouldn't just be about deception. It could mean Archie and Lilith aren't technically eligible for their royal titles or standing. That's why this conspiracy hits differently. It's not just tabloid fodder anymore. It's potentially constitutional. As the clips circulated, people began picking apart frame by frame. That bump doesn't look right. It's sitting too low. It moves oddly. Meghan is squatting, bending, twerking, things most women overdue in pregnancy wouldn't dream of doing. And that's not just internet speculation. Doctors, nurses, and mothers chime in across platforms to say the same thing. Something looks off. Even those who usually defend Meghan were unusually quiet. But it wasn't just the visuals, was the tone. Meghan dressed in black, dancing in a hospital room with dramatic lighting, was set to music about being a baby mama who does whatever she wants for someone who's claimed to crave privacy, who left the UK supposedly to escape media scrutiny. Putting this kind of footage out felt like the complete opposite. It wasn't just a misstep, it felt like a setup for ridicule. And that's exactly what happened online. People had a field day, memes exploded, hot takes flew in. From every corner, theories multiplied. Was this an elaborate PR stunt gone wrong, a distraction from something else, or just another example of how completely disconnected Meghan and Harry had become from public sentiment? Piers Morgan, never one to hold back, took to X and said, "We're about 2 months away from the sex tape." Harsh, sure, but also a reflection of how much this whole spectacle has shifted public opinion. Again, Jeremy Kyle wasn't any kinder, practically gagging on air as he described the video as a lap dancing club with pregnant women.
She's dancing in front of the camera. Oh, God, it looks like a lap dancing club with pregnant women. He's also dancing in front of the camera. She's got a black dress on. She's literally holding her bump and twerking, and she's put this on social media. The woman is... that's getting worse now. She looks like she's performing.
He didn't hold back on the broader implications, either calling the entire display a disgrace to the monarchy. And if that wasn't enough, mainstream outlets who previously ignored the bump rumors started making quiet inquiries behind the scenes. Even journalists were whispering the same thing. Viewers were yelling online, what if it's true? For years this was off limits. Now it's on front pages. And Meghan, she hasn't said a word, not yet, but the damage might already be done. Jeremy Kyle wasn't finished. Sitting across from Kenzie Schofield, he launched into what might be one of his most brutal takedowns. Yet he mocked the whole idea of privacy that Meghan and Harry once claimed to cherish.
There's going to be a little bit of sick in my mouth as I try and describe this, because fresh from repeatedly telling us that they were escaping the United Kingdom because they wanted privacy. They hated the press. They hated everything. And all she does now with her jams that are crap is post pictures of her children left, right and centre, which has me always thinking, well, hold on a second.
They fled the UK to get away from the press, he said, but now she's dancing around like a TikTok star in a delivery room, his voice dripped with disbelief. You got children left with chicken's jam jars no one wants. And now a music video in a maternity gown. He looked like he couldn't decide whether to laugh or throw up. Kinsey didn't hold back. Either she pointed out how detached Meghan seemed from the dignity that being a royal once demanded. It wasn't just about the dancing. It was the overall spectacle. This isn't someone in labor, she said. This is someone performing, selling something, selling herself. That's when things got more disturbing because the performance had lyrics, music, and visuals that all felt just a little too polished. People online began asking, was this even filmed during her actual pregnancy? Then came the hospital room inconsistencies. Health professionals began chiming in, that's not a labor and delivery room. One nurse posted, that's not how a hospital bed is supposed to be positioned, that for line doesn't go there. Another said flat out she's not in labor, that's a costume drama. And it snowballed even down how the bump looked too stiff, too smooth, moving oddly under the dress. Women who'd carried fulcrum pregnancies couldn't relate. One woman wrote, that belly is too round and too perfect. It looks like it came from Amazon. And that's when old footage resurfaced, clips where Meghan's bump seemed to fold awkwardly while sitting, other videos where her hand would press against her stomach and the shape would shift unnaturally. It wasn't a new theory, but suddenly it felt more real than ever. Piers Morgan doubled down. He posted a split-screen comparison showing Meghan in the hospital room dancing and Meghan on stage years earlier with a very different posture and bump shape. Tell me again how this is the same pregnancy. He captioned that the comments exploded. Then there was a reaction from overseas. Alexandra Marshall, speaking from Australia, looked visibly disturbed as an ambassador for Australia's constitutional monarchy. She said flat out that the video was a nightmare for monarchists. Her point wasn't just about embarrassment. It was about ammunition. She warned that Republicans in countries like Australia would use this circus as proof that modern monarchy had become a farce. This is the argument on a silver platter. She said it's cringeworthy and undignified and hands anti. Monarchists exactly what they want, but the most chilling take came from Norman Fenton, a mathematics professor who just come from court. He wasn't talking about emotions. He was talking about logic. This bump doesn't behave like a real pregnancy. He said plainly it's inconsistent with what we know about full-term physical behavior. He didn't go deep into medical analysis, but he didn't need. He just asked a question that had started haunting the public. If this isn't real, what does that mean for Archie and Libet? Meanwhile, major outlets stayed weirdly quiet. Articles about Meghan's beautiful birthday post for Lilith stayed pinned at the top of news sites. Nothing critical, nothing challenging, just fluff, and that silence started to speak volumes because behind-the-scenes reporters were texting whistleblowers, hunting sources, and trying to verify if this video was truly new or if it was something Meghan had staged years ago, dusted off, and pushed out now that attention was fading. And why now? That's what no one could figure out. What was the strategy? What was the goal? If it was damage control, it backfired. If it was publicity, it worked for all the wrong reasons. Speculation turned into something more organized. As people began connecting the dots, a growing number of voices started pushing for real consequences, not just public shaming or means, but actual action from the royal institution. The recurring question wasn't about taste or decency anymore. It was about eligibility. If Meghan had staged not just a video, but an entire pregnancy, what did that mean for Archie and Lilette's royal status? The rule was clear: to remain in the royal line of succession, a child must be born of the body of a royal surrogacy, unless publicly disclosed and legally documented, could disqualify them, and no such disclosure had ever been made. So when legal experts chimed and they weren't just speculating on gossip, They were pointing out that this could be a constitutional crisis hidden under a layer of celebrity chaos. Online petitions started picking up steam, demanding Buckingham Palace launch. An inquiry, some wanted the Sussex children removed from the royal website. Others called for an immediate suspension of their titles until birth certificates and medical records could be verified. And then came the leaked rumor, unconfirmed, but widely believed, that Prince Harry was considering reverting to his mother's maiden name, Spencer. That move alone sent shockwaves through the royal watching world. Was it damage control? Was it preemptive distancing insiders close to the royal family? Reportedly weren't amused according to sources quoted in royal gossip columns. King Charles was deeply disappointed by the latest stunt. William, meanwhile, was said to be furious less about the video itself and more about the fact that it dragged the monarchy back into chaos just as he was trying to modernize its image. Some reports even claimed he privately referred to the video as a disgrace to everything Mom stood for. Royal biographers didn't waste time either. Books long in progress were suddenly being rewritten, chapters updated. Theories explored more openly. Even senior palace staffers were starting to speak off the record. One reportedly said, "We protected them for too long. This isn't about media bias anymore. It's about national trust." Then came a media pivot that no one saw coming. A few prominent anchors who had previously defended Meghan cautiously addressed the situation. One said, "If this video was meant to prove something, it has only raised more doubt." Another, "The problem isn't that Meghan danced. The problem is that it looks like she's playing a character, and the stakes of that character are real." Suddenly, this wasn't a fringe conversation anymore. It was center stage, the most surreal part of it all. Meghan never responded, no press release, no denial, no attempt to explain the video, not even a passive Instagram quote about ignoring the noise, just silence. And in that silence, the theories grew louder. Was she hoping it would all blow over? Or was it calculated silence meant to provoke? As the dust settled, people weren't laughing anymore. The public mood had shifted from mockery to discomfort. There was a lingering sense that something wasn't right, and that the palace might be ignoring it to avoid more drama. But ignoring it wasn't making it go away. The more they stayed quiet, the more the public started asking, what else had we not been told? It wasn't just about one video or one fake-looking bump. It was about trust, about legacy, about whether the royal family was upholding the standards it claimed to represent. And for many, Meghan's video wasn't just cringy or bizarre. It was the moment they stopped believing anything from that corner of the royal tent.